Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We start in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most kind. This is another video for the new component, which is of course the classification, which was not in the previous syllabuses but is now been added. So I've tried to get some questions on that and from other syllabuses and help you with the answers. Please attempt the questions on your own before watching the answers. You can pause the video here. I'm just going to scroll through the question. Now, as we read through the first question, Table 2.1 shows the names of three groups of arthropods and some of their characteristics. Place ticks in the boxes to show the characteristics present in each group. Now, you know the arthropod is divided into arachnids, crustaceans, and myriapods. So I'm just going to revise this with you and then I want to come back to this. General characteristics of arthropod is jointed appendages, segmented bodies, exoskeleton, and they're classified by the number of legs and body segments. So if you look at this now, this is the easiest table that I could find. Insects have 6 legs, arachnids have 8 legs, and crustaceans have 10 legs. Myriapods have lots of legs. So that is one of the biggest clue you have. Insect 6, there's an S in it, so 6. 8 legs, how are we going to remember 8? Somehow you have to remember 8. Arachnid 8. Crustaceans 10 legs, there's a T in it, 10 legs. And myriapods have lots of legs. So myriapods M, L, lots of legs. Then when you look at the body parts, insects have 3 body parts, but arachnids have 2 body parts and crustaceans also have 2 body parts. And here the body has lots of segments. So myriapod is the weird one which has lots of legs and lots of segments. Then let's look at the antennae. 2 antennae don't have antennae or wings. Arachnids do not have any antennae or wings. And look at the picture of one. And again 2 antennae. And then again 2 antennae. So except for arachnids, all have 2 antennae. And it becomes very easy for it. 4 pairs of legs are 8 legs. Let's go back. 4 pairs of legs, 8 arachnids. So a tick here. Then 1 pair of antennae is myriapods. And then 2 main body parts is again arachnids. So you see here, if you look back at this, then we can get arachnids have 2 body parts. So you can easily remember this. I know there's something is rote learning. You have to remember it. It's not something that you you can remember maybe one insect and one arachnid, one crustacean, and then make a mental picture of it and remember it. All living organisms show the same 7 characteristics. State 4 of the characteristics of living. So you're not expected to give me anything more. So what are the main characteristics? Is movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, and nutrition. The mnemonic for that is Mrs. Gren, Mrsgren. So you can see that Mrsgren. So you remember this, there's a mnemonic for it, so it's easy for you to remember. So just give me any 4. So any 4 out of these. I'm not saying you have to give me all these 8, but any 4 of these. No, there's 7. Any 4 out of these 7. C part, figure 2.1 shows the apparatus used by some students during an investigation. The apparatus is drawn as seen from above. Dish containing chemical to absorb water vapor, sealed glass container, drop of red dye in a capillary tube, arthropods, dish containing chemical to absorb carbon dioxide. So there are two things: sealed glass container. There's a dish containing chemical to absorb the water vapor, and there's dish containing chemical to absorb the carbon dioxide. And then there is a capillary tube, a drop of a capillary tube. And what is this? This is a dish containing chemical. So some arthropods are placed in the container. A drop of the red dye was inserted into the capillary tube. Here we've got this red dye. The drop of the red dye gradually moved towards the arthropods. So the dye moved towards the arthropod. Why? The drop of the red dye moved. So explain why the drop of red dye moved towards the arthropods. And that's for 3 marks. So you can think of it, what is happening and why the drop of the red dye in the capillary tube is moving towards the arthropod. If you noted this, the sealed glass container. So it's a sealed glass container, like a round sort of ball or some sort of a round spherical thing, because it's a sealed glass container. So that means air is only entering through the capillary tube. So why would the dye move? Is because the oxygen will be used by the arthropods. So it's sort of like a respirometer. So they've used a chemical to absorb the carbon dioxide. So you have to talk about the oxygen being used by the arthropods for aerobic respiration, and the carbon dioxide which is given out would be absorbed, which is released would be absorbed, and the carbon dioxide and the water vapor both would be absorbed. And the volume of air in the container would decrease, so this would create a pressure difference. And that is why pressure in the container would decrease, and then this bubble would be moving towards the arthropods. The fact that this was a sealed glass container, so they've just changed the apparatus of a respirometer into something different, and they expected you to be answering this question. As I'm saying, it is oxygen used by the arthropods and aerobic respiration taking place, carbon dioxide given out, carbon dioxide is absorbed, and the volume of air decreases, so pressure in the container decreases, and that of course. Now another question which I would just add to it was that if we remove the carbon dioxide absorbent, then the red dye would not move. And they could have made this a question: how could you how and when would the red dye not move? So if you remove the carbon dioxide, the chemical which absorbed carbon dioxide, or that chemical did not work any longer, it had become saturated with CO2, then again the red dye would not move. Then coming to the next part of the question, the investigation shown in figure 2.1 is repeated at different temperatures. Figure 2, so in millimeter per hour. So at 10 degrees, the movement was 5 millimeter per hour. At 20 degrees, it was 9.5 millimeters per hour. And at 30 degrees, it was, no, it was 20.5, because each one is, yeah, it was 20.5. So 20.5 millimeters per minute. Now it says state the trend shown in figure 2.2. What is the trend? As the temperature increases, the rate of dye movement increases. Simple, simple. As the temperature increases, the rate of dye movement increases. At 10 degrees, it was 5, 9.5, then 20.5. So the trend means, what is the general trend? Is it decreasing? Is it increasing? As temperature increases, it decreases or remains the same. Something like this. So as the temperature increases, the rate, and then it says calculate the percentage increase in the rate of dye movement between 10 and 20. So at 10, the movement was 5. At 20, the movement is 9.5. You must write this so that you remember what you're talking about. So the difference would be 4.5 over 5 into 100, and that is 90%. 4.5 over 5 into 100 is 90%. So the trend is, as it increases, so does the rate increase. So as the temperature increases, the rate of movement increases. Please do the question before you look at the mark scheme or the video. Pause the video and do the question, and then check your answers with my answers. Uh, Scientists classify organisms into two groups. State one feature that is used to identify vertebrates. How would you identify vertebrates? Well, they have a bony skeleton, or you can even say they have a vertebral column, or you could even have said they have a backbone, or you could have said they have vertebrae. So lots of answers, but basically the word vertebrates means that they have a vertebral column, and that was a very easy way to remember it. If you didn't remember the word vertebral column, you could have said backbone. Vertebrates are classified into five groups. Figure 1.1 shows three vertebrates found in Australia. One is a duck-billed platypus. It's got a beak or a bill and lays eggs. And then there's a saltwater crocodile which also lays eggs. And then there's an emu which also lays eggs. And it says not to scale, means they're not according to the size. And then it says the emu, the saltwater crocodile, and the duck-billed platypus each belong to a different vertebrate group. All three animals lay eggs that develop and hatch on land. State the name of the vertebrate group to which emus belong and give one feature of group that is visible. What do you think? Birds. And what is the thing which makes this visible feature? Feathers. So that's it, you got your 2 marks. If you said birds, there's no other answer to it. You could have said feathers, you could have said beak, you could have said hard-shelled eggs. So that was for the 2 marks. Then coming to the part 2, state the name of the vertebrate group to which crocodiles belong and give one feature of this group that is visible. They are reptiles. And why are they? Because the visible feature is scales or a scaly skin. Or you could have said leathery eggs. So scales or a scaly skin, that would have got you the mark. Then it says part 3, the duck-billed platypus is classified as a mammal. Give evidence from figure 1.1 for and against classifying the duck-billed platypus as a mammal. So what is the evidence for it? It has got a hair. It has hair, or you can say fur. So that got you 1 mark. And evidence against is that lay eggs. Mammals don't lay eggs. So lay eggs or external eggs, and then the young develop outside the body and has a beak or a bill. So the evidence against is they can lay eggs and the young develop outside the body and has a beak. So the fact that mammals don't have a beak, that's very evident. Part C, there are two groups of vertebrates which lay eggs that develop in water. State the name of these two groups of vertebrates. Fish and amphibian. So fish and amphibians would have got you your marks. The name of the two groups of vertebrates that lay eggs that develop in water. So fish and amphibians. And that finishes this question, which was a 10-mark question. And I hope this is clear to you all now. Please do the question yourself first. Figure 1.1 shows 5 whole leaves from different trees. A, B, C, D, and E. Now, use the key to identify the leaves in figure 1.1 and write the answers in table 1.1. Leaf is a single leaf shape. Let's look at it. Which one is a single leaf shape? It's A, C, and E. You go to 2. So if it's a single leaf shape, it's A, C, and E. Now you go to, because single leaf is A, C, and E. Now you go to 2. 2 says vein branch from a long middle vein. Veins branch from a long middle vein. That can only be A and C. So long middle vein. So A or C. Because if you look at E, all the veins are starting from here. So when you look at this now, it says veins branch from a long vein, so that's A and C. So you go to 3, leaf has an oval, leaf is oval and has a smooth shape. Now that would be C. Then we go back to now, leaf is divided into, so then of course we're left with the A one. So veins branch from a single point at the stalk, and that would be E. Leaf is oval, has a smooth shape, C. Leaf is oval and has a lobed shape, that would be A. Lobe shape, these are lobes, right? Then leaf is divided into several parts, so that would be B and D, which were left. So you go to 4. When you go to 4, leaf has leaflets joined at one point on the stalk, that is B. They're all joined at this point on the stalk. So this is joined here, this is joined here. And then you're left with the last one, which is D. So leaflets are joined at different points along the stalk, and that is D. So this was for 4 marks. 1 correct, 1 mark, 2 marks, 3 or 4 correct, 3 marks, and 5 correct gives you 4 marks. So this is simple. It's a rather simple question. That's why, there are so many marks for these simple points. Next question. Leaves play an important part in plant nutrition. Name the process plants use to make carbohydrates such as simple sugars. State the word equation for this process. Suggest one way that leaves are adapted to make carbohydrates. Please pause the video here, write your answers, and then look at the answers. So process, make carbohydrates, photosynthesis, word equation, not chemical. Water plus carbon dioxide got you 1 mark. Oxygen and glucose got you a 2nd mark. There are 2 marks for this. Suggest one way the leaves are adapted to make carbohydrates. A large surface area to absorb light. They contain chloroplasts that absorb light. They have xylem, which brings the water. They have stomata to allow gas exchange. And they're very thin leaves, so there's short diffusion distance. And then there's a transparent cuticle, which allows light to pass and protects the leaf. So basically allows light to pass. Now coming to the B part of the question. Figure 1.1 shows whole leaves from 5 different trees. A, B, C, D, and E. 5, not to scale. Figure 1.2 is a key which can be used to identify the 5 leaves shown in figure 1.1. The key shows the scientific names of the 5 trees that the leaves came from. In this key, box 4 is missing. I'm letting you go through it and then write your answers. It says, does the leaf have more than one separate part? No, go to 2. Does the leaf have a rough toothed edge? Go to 3. No, this, yes. Now, does the leaf have more than one separate part? So, no. Does the leaf have more than one separate part? Yes. Go to 4. So, what do you write in this box? So, if does the leaf have a rough toothed edge? No or yes? Rough toothed edge. No or yes? Does the leaf, if it's no, then does the leaf have a smooth oval shape? If it has yes, so that is Laurus nobilis. Does the leaf have a rough toothed edge? Yes. Then it's Betula pendula. And if it has the leaf have a smooth oval shape, no, then it is this. So you had to figure all this out, and then you had to give me all the letters. Now the letters was C, D, E and A. Then it says suggest a suitable question which would be used to distinguish between the leaves of Aesculus and Fraxinus. Write your answer in box 4 on figure 1.2. So box 4 here, you have to give me something which you have to differentiate. There's a whole lot of answers which you get. Does the leaf have only 5 parts? Or you could say, does the leaf have less than 7 parts? Or you could have said, do the leaf parts all join at one place? All the leaf points join at one place. Or you could have said, does the leaf have more than one vein? Or you could have said, does the leaf have branched veins? Or you could have said, does the leaf have more than one vein in each part? Or you could have said, does the leaf have pointy ends? You see, this has got a pointy end, this has got a pointy end, this has a pointy, but these have smooth edges. So any one of those in the box would have got you your 1 mark, and that's a 1 mark part. So this is a total 8 marks question. Figure 1.1 shows 5 different insects. Please have a look at them. And using the key to identify the insects in figure 1.1, write the letter for each insect in table 1.1. These are the answers, and I hope this is all. You can easily figure it out. You just have to go back onto the question, onto the diagram, and then you have to come back here and figure it out. This is the mark scheme for it, and I'm sure you all can be helped with this and see how we have figured this out. Figure 1.1 shows a diagram of an arthropod. Name the arthropod group that the animal belongs to. It's arachnids. Give 2 reasons for your answer. Why? Because you've got 4 pairs of legs, or you can say 8 legs or 4 pairs of legs. And it's got 2 parts of the body. It has 2 parts of the body. It has no antennae and simple eyes. So any 2 of those. State the name of 2 other arthropod groups. Insects, crustaceans, and myriapods. So any 2 out of these, and you would have your 2 out of 2. That completes this video, and I hope this is going to be helpful to you all in doing these questions on classification, which is it's a new content. It is the content which is in 2023 syllabus. Thank you very much, and all the very best.